After a much shorter break than normal, the Bundesliga returns this weekend, as does another excellent column by Derek Ray. Be sure to check that out over on the website, as he's discussing whether or not anyone can challenge Bayern Munich, who, of course, will start 2021 in a very familiar position, top of the table, 2 points clear of Bayer Leverkusen and Leipzig. As we welcome in Archie Rhind-Tutt. Happy New Year to you, Archie. We can pretend that I haven't said that already off air, but there we are, we'll say it again. Archie, let's talk about fourth versus fifth this weekend. Wolfsburg against Borussia Dortmund. The big question around that game is whether or not Erling Haaland will be back.
He will be. He will start, I think, against Wolfsburg on Sunday, and Borussia Dortmund have really missed him. Just before Christmas, they had that very painful defeat to Union Berlin and showed up their weakness in defending set pieces, as was shown a few weeks before that against Cologne as well. And it's not in that department that Erling Haaland is necessarily going to help out. It's his one-man missions of digging them out up front. And that's actually something that you could say he'd been carrying the team even so far this season, such as the way that Dortmund have looked without him. So Dortmund also on the cusp of losing 4 Bundesliga home games in a row for the first time since 1999-2000 season as well, which shows you quite how bad things have been going for them. And Wolfsburg, as their position in the table shows, are one of the best sides in the division. They've only lost 1 game so far this season in the Bundesliga, and that was to Bayern Munich. And I think that Dortmund have to be wary, particularly of the threat that Wout Weghorst poses up front. He's somebody that I think will be moving on from Wolfsburg and the Bundesliga perhaps in the summer to come. So it's shaping up to be a good game, I'd say.
It's got a double header on Sunday, isn't it? It starts with Borussia Dortmund and then Bayern Munich against Mainz. What should I ask you about this game, Archie?
If I was you, I'd say, well, isn't it quite something that Joshua Kimmich is back?
Yeah, of course. We saw him limp off, didn't we? Injured. Looks like he would be out for a sustained period. And it's only been a couple of months. Yeah,
he returned as a substitute during the game away at Leverkusen and made a telling impact as well, setting up Robert Lewandowski for the winning goal there. Even if Bayer Leverkusen gave away both goals in that game, but Kimmich is somebody that Bayern have missed. In fact, if you look at the 7 games, if you look at when Kimmich has not completed any of the last 7 games, Bayern have conceded first in all of those, and somehow still not lost any of them, which says something for the character of the team. But I'd say that none of their best performances this season have been without Joshua Kimmich. He gives them a tempo and a presence that I don't think anyone else can offer in the rest of the squad. So having Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka back, plus Bayern being able to have a little bit of a breather, because you could really tell that they just can't quite keep up the same level of pressing and intensity due to the amount of games that they've been having to play so far this season. I would worry if I was Mainz here, particularly because they're on their 3rd coach of the season. Jan Sievert, who's head of the youth academy, will be stepping up for this game, just as we wait to see who Mainz are going to appoint to follow Jan Moritz Lichter. But there's been some restructuring at the top of the club. Christian Heidel, who made his name when Jurgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel were coaches of the club, he's come back in upstairs in the club. And Martin Schmidt, a former coach of the club, is going to be the sporting director. But yeah, Mainz are a club who are in real danger. And when you're in real danger, you don't want to go and play Bayern Munich away.
A distinct possibility that Bayern, though, won't be top of the table going into that clash, given the fact that both Leipzig and Bayer Leverkusen are in action on Saturday. Leipzig taking on Stuttgart, Bayer Leverkusen taking on Frankfurt. Who could have the biggest challenge out of those 2 matches to get the win?
I kind of want to sit on the fence here and say even, because Frankfurt away and Stuttgart away, even though Stuttgart have not won a home game this season, Stuttgart are having a very good season by the standards of a promoted club. That said, there have been some off-the-pitch noise. There's been some off-the-pitch noise, which is something which is very familiar to Stuttgart fans, with Thomas Hitzelsperger and Klaus Vogt, the president, having something of a war of words as Hitzelsperger, who is chairman, at the club, saying that he wants to become the president of the club, and that's obviously the role that's held by Vogt, which is a shame for Stuttgart if that was to overshadow what's been going on the pitch, because they've been playing some enterprising football, one of the most exciting teams to watch in the division, and coming up against Leipzig, a team who have been in very good form themselves. Disappointing end to last year with a 0-0 draw against Cologne, but that should be a quite open and exciting game to watch. As for Frankfurt against Leverkusen, for my money, the best team to watch in the Bundesliga so far this season. They only have themselves to blame that they lost to Bayern last time out. I question whether they can quite find the same rhythm and the same intensity that they had before. Having a 10-day break or so now, not necessarily going to help them. And you saw that they were a little bit slow to start the season. But Frankfurt have only lost a handful of games, underperforming given the fact that they've not been in European competition this year. I'd expected a little bit more from them. But Frankfurt is a difficult place to go and play. Only Bayern have really taken them apart this season. They won 5-0 against them earlier this season. So I think Leverkusen deserve a lot of credit for being in the position that they're in now. But whether or not that they're going to be top of the table come the time that Bayern play, such is the nature of the Bundesliga, I can't say with a straight face that, yeah, absolutely both of those sides are going to win at those games.
Meanwhile, at the bottom of the table, it's all about Schalke, who are looking to avoid the unenviable record of not winning 30 Bundesliga matches in a row.
Yes, so the Bundesliga record, Dan, is 31 games, and that goes back to 1966 with Tasmania Berlin. Now, Tasmania Berlin have even come out and said that they hope Schalke win soon because they don't want their record to be taken away. They were something of a historic case because it was a team made up of amateur players, and they quite enjoyed their year in the Bundesliga. It was a bit of a laugh, but for Schalke, it's far from that. This is very serious. The fact that they are on now their fourth coach of the season, Huub Stevens came in for the cup game and the league game against Arminia Bielefeld just before the end of 2020. And now Christian Gross, a name that we've not seen in the Bundesliga in a decade, when he re-energized Stuttgart and took them into European football, is the man tasked with saving their bacon. Sead Kolasinac is returning to Schalke on loan, which I think is a good sign. I think he's better than Schalke's left-back option there. But they're playing against a Hertha side who have underperformed this season, given the expectations, the amount of money that has been spent there. Okay, there are some big characters that they've had to replace there. But the fact that John Cordoba comes back from injury, I think, is a very positive thing for them. Let's see what kind of a reaction Christian Gross can get. See if it's any better than the one that Manuel Baum, the second coach that Schalke had this season, was able to coerce, because Schalke have been absolutely terrible and deserve to be in the place that they are on the table right now.
Archie Rhind-Tutt, as always, thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. So Schalke against Hertha Berlin is at 12:30 on Saturday, live on ESPN+. Some cracking matches to start 2021 in Germany. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.